Welcome to the first of two political forums sponsored by the Express Community Newspaper. We really appreciate you coming out. Tonight we feature the three Democratic candidates for Clinton County Commissioner. Tomorrow night, also at 7, we feature the Republican candidates, the 5 Republican candidates, also at this location. We have refreshments and some cupcakes and everything that's good for you out there. The restrooms are out here to your right and they're marked. We want to thank the Masonic Lodge for allowing us to use this grand old building, and believe me, it's a grand old building. We knew going in that we had some handicap access issues, but we staffed the front in case anybody would like to get some help up here. So we want to thank the Masons for that, because this is a beautiful building. It's a real treasure. You ought to see the upstairs. It's like walking back in time. So part of the effort is to use this building more and make it come back alive. I'm Bob Raleigh with the Express, and I'll be the moderator tonight. I'll also keep time. Let me explain the itinerary. Each candidate, by alphabetical order, will make an opening statement of no longer than 3 minutes. On a rotating basis, each panelist will ask a question to be answered by each candidate. Each candidate has 3 minutes to answer each question. And of course, I'll be keeping time, but I'm going to count on you all to maybe help me a little bit. We'll rotate who answers starting in alphabetical order. Example, Adam, Joel, Les, Joel, Adam, Les. We try to keep it simple, but you really, in terms of advantage, you need to rotate like that. We thought about that, so we'll get it right. If there's time, well, we're going to do the questions and discussions for about an hour. At least. And if there's time, and I'm certain there will be tonight, we're going to allow some questions from the audience. We think we went into this thinking maybe, well, we didn't think about that, but then some people asked and we thought, you know what, if we've got time, let's allow that. So we appreciate that suggestion. We are going to work to conclude by 9. Okay, so let me introduce the panelists first, and then we'll get started. Lana Muffler is the Express Managing Editor, who all of you I hope know, and Dave Stratton, WQBR Bear Country Radio and Good News Magazine, and Jerry Updegraff, a member of the operating board of the Clinton County Economic Partnership. Thank you guys for being here. Now our candidates, who you're all here to see, our incumbent Adam Coleman, our incumbent Joe Long, our challenger Les Robinson. So let's get started, and we'll start with Lana, the first question.
Okay, good evening, gentlemen. Some area residents who have examined the county's employment policies have pointed out that the employees receive contracted yearly increases and also receive incremental increases in salary based on longevity. In an area where private employees have seen stagnant wages and decreases in benefits, is it fair to reward county employees this way?
We've obviously had this discussion here a lot in the last few months. One of the things that county government is saddled with, as opposed to private industry, is when we're dealing with our employees, we're dealing with a bargaining unit. We don't have the ability to just say, oh well, we're not going to give our employees raises this year. When we negotiate a contract, that's what it is. It is an absolute negotiation. And every time the negotiations come up, the meetings go about the same way. The union comes to us with their proposal, we go to them with their proposal, and usually they're about that far apart, and we move as close as we can to the middle. One of the things that we have to be concerned about with that is that the union can also go to a binding arbitration. And when we negotiate, we're negotiating in full faith, hoping that we can come to a middle ground so that there's no more negative impacts on the county taxpayers. If it would happen to go to binding arbitration, whoever the arbitrator is that day might say, well, Clinton County, you guys are going to pay what the original offer was from the union, which might be 8%, might be 10%, might be 20%. We never know. So we, in full faith, we have to negotiate with the union, unlike the private industries. The way the scales are broken out, for years there was a lot of inequity in the scales themselves. You get what is most commonly referred to as the raise is the cost of living raise that is given to each of the employees. In years past, that has been anywhere between 2.5% and 4%. When we negotiated this contract here, we negotiated at 2% each of the 3 years of the contract, not any type of escalation. With the scales, though, we do pay a little extra for years of service, for experience, and that's where the inequities really were. There was people that on the scales, there was anywhere between 3 and 7% difference between some of the scales. So you had some employees that were regularly getting, 8.5%, 9% raises every year. For this year, we imposed a new salary scale that each step is 3%, and the cost of living, like I said, is 2%. That won't change. Now, the first year of this contract, though, because of having to switch people from the old system to the new system, that's what inflated it a little bit this year. Okay. That's what inflated it a little bit this year. After this year, the most that any county employee will get will be 5%. And a lot of our employees are what we consider OV, off the scale, so they will only get the 2% cost of living increase.
Time's up, thanks. I want to apologize. I was supposed to allow opening statement first, but all your wonderful faces got me all nervous. So after our first round of questioning, we'll go to opening statements, then we'll allow this question to be answered by Joel and Les, and then we'll do opening statements. Sorry about that.
Well, to continue what Commissioner Coleman has said, the scale and grade and step system was set up a long time ago. We inherited that. If you look at it from the standpoint that this is how much a job is worth for someone who is at their peak of their experience and their knowledge, it steps backwards. Everybody tends to look at the other way around, but it steps backwards to a starting salary. And as Commissioner Coleman pointed out, that over the years, that had kind of gotten skewed out of alignment. We had, 5 pages worth of salary grades and steps. And we tried to take something and correct that issue. We've had people say, well, you should do away with that altogether. That's certainly something to consider at some point, but I had a lot of experience dealing with arbitration. This is not like a regular union that you deal with and you can say, this is what it is. If you don't like it, you can strike and walk out. They go to binding arbitration. It's binding. You can't appeal it. And they will tell you that this is what you'll pay. And I've gone through those processes, and you have to weigh out, is this something that's going to be pretty close to what we would end up paying if we went to arbitration? Is this something that that we could do a lot better with? And if you can't win, or you think that it's going to be pretty close, you take the risk of losing the arbitration, paying more than you planned to do to begin with, and then if you have to raise taxes, you have to, because it's not a choice. Okay? We were put in a situation where we were able to get the salary scales redone to try to bring it more under control. And we had budgeted enough to cover what the expenses were. We did give a concession in the first year to get people on the scales. And over that time frame. Now, if you look at the last couple contracts, the contract back in 2005 to 2007, the total increase to employees of 39.72%, and that averaged down to 13.24% per year. The contract after that was 41%, which was an increase of 13.7% per year. We recognize that that's a problem, that we need to get that under control. We didn't stop it, but we slowed it. This most recent contract brought it to an average of, it brought it to 15.76 over the 3-year period, which works out to 5.25%. Still not probably where it should be at, but we're trying to rein it back in. We also got concessions on insurance that we had never gotten. We got concessions in the past, but those concessions were only for the first year, and then if the insurance went up through the life of the contract, the county had to eat that, because that's what the contract said. This time, we worked out that if it goes up, the employees take a portion of that as well each year. So, you know, the focus recently in the article and the thing that's been put out there has been focused on the most negative thing. Thank you.
I'd just like to say everybody's entitled to a raise, and everybody's entitled to make whatever they're worth, and that's fine. But let's face it, the economy is down, folks. There was talk of a 2% raise. Is that right or wrong? I wasn't in the negotiation, so I can't say. But it ended up to be like an average of 5%, and there were some double-digit raises. I think that's out of hand, and if I'd have been in office, that would not have happened. I don't know what's going on in the past. I don't quite understand what the gentlemen are saying here, that what they've done, they needed to do, but things need to change. There's other counties that are changing. Other counties are laying off and they're cutting back. And if we don't, we're going to be raising taxes. And I wouldn't want to be a part of that. Thank you.
Okay, let's regroup and go back to the opening statement. We'll start with that. 3 minutes.
Okay, well, like Bob already said, welcome here tonight. I'm actually surprised to see as many people here with the weather as well. I was really worried when it was absolutely pouring an hour ago. Let me start by saying that the last 4 years have been an honor and privilege to serve all the residents of Clinton County, not just the residents of Lock Haven or Woodward Township or Lamar Township or Wayne Township, the entire county. It has definitely been an interesting experience. I've met a lot of new people. Some I've gotten to know more than I ever thought that I would. But it's been a very good, very rewarding experience. Like I said, it's been an absolute honor to serve as your county commissioner over the last 4 years. And I hope that when we shake things out here in the next few weeks and over the next few months, that I earn that right again, because I really, really am honored to have the position that I have and would be honored to continue serving as your commissioner.
I want to thank the Express for putting this on. I want to thank the panel members for taking part in it. I want to thank all of you for coming out. It's important that when we have important decisions like this, that people become educated on what the issues are and educated on how we feel about them and how we approach county government or any position that someone's running for. And I want to thank you all for coming here and taking the time to listen to our words and see how we present ourselves to represent you. Because as Adam has mentioned, this is a great job, and it's a great job because there's no better job in the world to say that your job is to make where we live a better place. And I've appreciated you allowing me to do that for the last 4 years. And I really appreciate the opportunity to continue that. Thank you.
I want to thank the Express for the invitation to be here, the panel, and for everyone that's here tonight. I'm not very long-winded, never have been. I'm not one to toot my horn. You've seen in the paper what I've done in the past, and I don't need to bring that up tonight because it'll be back in the paper again. But I would like to say I have 30 years of business experience. I'd like to bring that experience and know-how into this county because I know you do a good job.